2 years ago, I packed up all my belongings into my neighbour's trailer, said goodbye to my friends and family, and of course Benji, and went on my way on a new journey into a new city 6 hours away from the only home I have ever known. This whole adventure was exciting but daunting because I only knew a handful of people. Somehow, me and 2 other girls I had only just met managed to get a rental during the middle of a housing crisis, and we made that place our home. This house has served us well for 2 years, but now it's time to move on and find a new place. I'll never forget the memories made here in my first home. Like the fact that I started my business here. It was also the place where I took a deep breath and leaped out into my music career for the very first time. It's where friendships were made and grew to be something so beautiful that I didn't even have in school. And all this will continue to grow in my new house as I'm only moving 10 minutes away, so come along with me for the ride. Hey lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amity Gilmour. If you're new here, welcome. I post videos documenting my journey to fulfill a music career while living with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This week we are moving, which is bittersweet, mostly sweet, but also like I have lived in this house for 2 years now. If you have been here since the day I moved in, please comment down below the house emoji because I want to see how many of you have been here for the journey in this house. We're moving into a beautiful home. I'm so excited. It is a rental. Don't worry, I haven't bought a home. I'm a Gen Z living in Sydney, so that ain't happening anytime soon. But as to now, today is just like looking like packing all my cubes. These cubes here are very convenient for moving because the way I've sorted it is like everything always stays in a cube. Each cube has a different designated purpose. So one will be like for books, one will be like for a certain type of craft. It's a very helpful setup I have, and I'm super keen for you guys to come along as we move into this new journey. I just packed the last remaining orders that are going to go out hopefully on Tuesday. Those orders will go out and then I will basically be unpacking my home, so I won't have much time to do anything else really. So we just had an open home, so I had to clean for that. Now I'm just getting ready to work. The guy from the real estate was really lovely. He was like, oh, so where are you on to next? And I was telling him that I've got a place I'm moving to, and he's like, oh, good luck with that. He was such a gem. I was telling him about my business and he was like, that's so cool. Anyway, that being said, I'm gonna get to work. Morning, today is moving day. My bed is still not disassembled and things are still sort of everywhere. So I need to quickly pack everything up because I've got a friend coming around with his trailer to take all the stuff to the new house and I'm so excited. I really pushed myself to get up and do the rest of the packing and it's still not done. I've got people coming in 10 minutes and my eyes, this is when I know things are going crazy, my eyes start to lose focus and I'm just seeing things weirdly, and then I get muscle twitches and I just feel terrible, and it happens when I get up and about and do things. Insanely dizzy. I still have so much to pack. My muscles are twitching everywhere and that's usually a good sign that I'm getting really bad. So moving is really hard, very difficult. Hey, I'm just laying down on the floor because I feel so bad. Awful. I don't know how I'm gonna move. Ugh. Anyway, I'm here to collect the keys. Hey lovers, okay, so I pushed through and my room is sort of empty. There's still a few things around that needs to be sorted. And I've got boxes in here. And then I also have boxes. I have a whole heap of boxes in here. This is just a sea of boxes. You don't really realize how much stuff you have until you have to move. Mind you, most of the stuff goes in the shelves, but lots of stuff. Anyway, I'm probably gonna vacuum this and maybe grab a coffee as well. Hey lovelies, I just got back from a thing from church. Now I wanna show you around my new home. I'm so excited. So here, a mirror. It's a little built-in. And then this is my room. Yes, I haven't fully unpacked. There's still stuff at my old house that I'm bringing over tomorrow. And then this is the living room. That is my desk where I'll be working from. Kitchen, fridge. I am thinking I'll put probably, I don't know if I'll put a bay, an extra thing here with the bar stools I have. I still gotta move those across. Fridge, obviously. This is the spare room in here. This here is the bathroom. It's a little bit wet because I just had a shower, so mind that. I don't have my basket, my clothes basket, so it's just all there at the moment. Scrunchie, actually, I'll grab that. Everything here, the door, my paintings, paint by numbers, by the way. Yes, I painted these, but it was paint by numbers, so it's not that impressive. So this is my new home, and I'm so excited. I hope I get to stay here for as long as possible, but obviously it's a 6-month lease. And the whole thing with real estate these days, my thought was like, oh, it's 6 months because they're gonna get it ready to move out. And I was like, oh, that's gonna be so sad. But I found out that most leases, particularly in Sydney at the moment, are just 6 months lease regardless. And the reason being is because that way, if anything happens, they can basically kick you out if something drastic happens, and it's easier for them, which I kind of get. I get that. As someone, I'll pop you up here. I'm just finding some Panadol because my head is like pounding right now. I got so dehydrated because I didn't hook up my feeding tube for the move. The reason for this is because I didn't want it to get tugged out of me. Basically, I'm just super cautious now after last time, which was the first time I've ever had my tube yanked out of me, and it was like my fault. I think I've just realized I don't have any Panadol. Dang, it's in a different box. No. Well, that's gonna suck. Oh no, wait, please be Panadol, please be Panadol. Thank you, cheers. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I was like, my head is probably pounding the most it's ever pounded before. I am so dehydrated. My head was pounding so much that it was spinning. Hi, we've just moved the extra stuff over today, which I'm super excited about. The house was looking like a dump because we just dumped all the boxes. There's still some more stuff I'm hoping to get done tonight. There's some stuff at the old house still. I'm just taking a rest. Got a friend who might be able to help me transport the rest of it, and my friend is going to come around and also help me unpack, which will be good. But I don't know really what to do in terms of food because I really should eat, but I've got nothing. I need to go grocery shopping tonight as well because I've got no groceries. But all in all, it's gonna be an exciting time. The last clip you saw was me and my friends. We went and got dinner to celebrate that we are officially moved in. Well, I'm officially moved in. And there's just one more thing I need to bring across from the old house, and also a few things I need to do to wrap up the lease of the old house. I am so excited. I cannot believe that I am officially moved. This house is so nice. I'm thinking next week's video is actually going to be a house tour, so I'm excited for you guys to see that. But anyway, I'm gonna head to bed now. I'm super tired. It's been a big day, but I've loved every minute of it. Morning lovelies, it's such a beautiful morning this morning, and like the morning is actually really lovely. I can hear birds. It's quiet. Like my last house, there was a really busy road out the front, and so we just had like trucks and like buses and sirens and everything. Here we just hear birds. So nice. But I am on my way to the old house. I need to greet the cleaners and let them in. Let's go. I went back to the house, the old one, to let the cleaners know like what to do, and then they're like, yeah, we can take it from here. You go enjoy your day. Hello lovelies. I am just getting out all the orders that came through while I was moving. There were quite a few orders that came through, so it's going to be a bit of a catch-up day today. Alright, I am losing the ability to tell which side to put this in. I feel exactly the same these days. I don't know why. I used to be able to tell more easily. Alright, I don't know if this is gonna print. Connect. Hopefully I can print. I think I need to clean the printer though before I print anything. Because I find that when you move it around, it kind of tends to do its own thing. I'll give it a bit of a clean. Which means I need paper for this. This printer has been giving me a little bit of grief, but that's okay. It hasn't been the nicest printer recently, but you can expect that for the amount of stuff I put it through. Alright, let's see how this goes. Oh, interestingly enough, it's in good condition. Great. Now I can print what I need to print. Alright, is it going to print? It's gonna print. Alright, it's printed the label. Now I can print the rest of the labels and packing slips. So I'm gonna go do that now. Hey lovelies, I thought we would start a new tradition by ending off these videos with a little sit down chat where we can have a conversation one-on-one about whatever the theme of this video is. I thought since this video is all about my move, I would sit down and talk to you guys and give you guys some tips on what you could do to be able to afford to live on your own if that's something that you would love to do. And can I just say, I live in the second most expensive city in the world to live in, first being Hong Kong, second being Sydney, which is where I live, Sydney, Australia. It is really hard to live here, and I just want to be clear with you guys that I don't recommend moving out of home if you can help it. That's like a big thing. I'd be like, don't move out of home if you're able to stay home with your family, and if they're happy for you to stay home, so you could basically save up for a deposit and buy your first home. That is something I would strongly suggest. But if you are like me and you found yourself in an instance where in order to stay alive you had to move, yeah, I'm going to give you some pointers on how to make things a little easier because they are not easy. Without further ado, I'm going to go into some of the things that you can do in order to be able to afford to live at home as a 20-something-year-old, 30-year-old, whatever it is, if you find yourself needing to do so. First thing is to just start somewhere. And when I mean somewhere, I mean anywhere. You need to get rental history, and so unless the place that you've been accepted in has no roof at all, you just need to take what you can get. I know this sounds really harsh. A lot of people don't want to live in a house with leaks and stuff, but our house had leaks. The floorboards were like, they were a home job. It was a nice house, we made it home, but like it was also in a very dodgy area, especially like our neighbors. We had some interesting neighbors. We had one neighbor who was like trying to get me to like hop in his van, and every time I said no, he would persist more, and then he would wait out the front of his house for me to walk past and try and like question me to see where I live. Yep. And then also we had a neighbor on one side that was just chronically cranky. Like, he was the most crankiest person. He doesn't have a job, he stays home all day, and all he does is just ring a whole bunch of people, including all the real estates on the street, to complain about every single person on the street. And not just all the real estates on the street to complain about every person on the street, but also every single service that comes in contact with him. Yep. I have heard him on the phone saying he was going to sue the bin men. And then we had another neighbor, or like house, where their cars just like took up the whole thing, plus they were like, and they were not happy people, and they would like rev their cars really loudly at like 1 a.m. at night and like just couldn't get to sleep. They were quite rough people as well, so like you wanted to stay away from them because like time you just looked over in their way, they're like, what are you looking at? So like, let me just say this when I say this. It was not a good area, but it was a start. It was not a good house, but it was a start. And this is the thing, you really need rental history in order to actually get your foot in the door. And anything you can do to get your foot in the door, just do it. We didn't live in a crash hot area. Our area was questionably not safe. But luckily there was 3 of us, and I will get onto that later. But you just have to start somewhere. You have to get your foot in the door, so get whatever rental you are able to be accepted for, you want to look at as many places as you can. You want to apply for every single one of them. We were probably looking for a month or so, and we just kept looking and persisting. We got rejected, and then this house was the only house we were able to get, and then we moved in. That house has so many great memories as well. It's a house where I got to know the people in this area who have become so close to me, because they would, the ones that would be over at the house hanging out. I met them through my housemate because we went to the same church. So yeah, it was a good start, and I definitely do not regret making the choice to accept it, because that's where you gotta start. Okay, third one is find cheaper suburbs. So Sydney, like I said, is the second most expensive city to live in the world. That doesn't mean though there aren't cheap suburbs. There are certain suburbs that are a lot cheaper. The area that I live in is a lot cheaper than most of Sydney, and then within that area there are suburbs in that particular suburb, because here in Sydney it's weird, we have suburbs within suburbs. But they're like suburbs that are actually even cheaper. And that was the area we lived in, and it was easy to understand why. Again, you just want to get your foot in the door, and that's all what this is about really. Thirdly, you are not going to be able to rent on your own. First up, people will not even give a look at you unless you're earning like ridiculous salary. If you don't have any rental history, they want to look and see you've got the most secure finances. If you don't have the most secure finances, they want to see your rental history. If you don't have a rental history, unfortunately, you won't be picked. So housemates is a very important part of this. You are going to have housemates. And another tip on top of this is that more housemates equals less money. More rooms equals less money. So if you get a 2-bedroom place, around here it's usually about, like, for the 2-bedroom place that I'm renting now, it's $460 a week. Split that between 2 people, you then are looking at having to pay $230 a week. However, if you have a 3-bedroom, our 3-bedroom was $600, split that between 3 people, that's $200 a week. And you can even go on and on and on depending on how many rooms you have. Just keep in mind though that if you are having these rooms and all these amounts of rooms, the one thing you need to keep in mind is you're going to have to find new roommates and housemates as they move out. And that can be very stressful as well, because you will at times need to pay more rent than is easy. Now, if you want to know where to find these housemates, here's some suggestions. So Facebook groups, and particular Facebook groups with common interests. Another tip is to find people in your social communities. So if you do dance or you do a sport or something, if there are people in your sports team that you would like to ask, hey, you want to be a flatmate, then that is good too. Other places you can find them, there are like flatmates.com and whatnot as well. Also a really easy one for those who are Christian, finding people at your church is actually a really easy option, or finding people from churches around the area. That was basically how we found most of our housemates. So they're all the kind of things I would suggest when looking for housemates. The other thing is, I would probably say try and stay for at least 2 years for your first rental to get rental history, because a lot of these places, when you reapply for a new rental, they're looking for 2 years rental history. And so if you can stay in your first rental place for 2 years, that will give you a great outlook on getting a better place. I will say though, this is dependent on the situations that you are given. Sometimes you have to move and it's out of the question, you can't change that. Things come up, that's okay. But if you do have the ability to stay for 2 years, I would highly recommend. The other one I'd say is pretty obvious, but it's just be a good tenant and get good references. In order to get good references, be a good tenant. So if you want to be a good tenant, this means look after the place, treat it like it's your own, do the gardening, do the maintenance, do the upkeep, make sure you're cleaning it once a week, getting it done. Like, you just want to make sure that you're treating the house like it's your own. You don't want to be trashing things, you don't want to be knocking the walls, you want to be careful not to ruin the place, because if you ruin the place, you're not going to have good references. And the reason I was able to get a place like this was because of good references, which leads me to the last point, and it is when it is ready, when it is time to level up, get a better place. Because obviously that last place we stayed in, we made it a home, it was wonderful, I have great memories from that place, but it was in a very dodgy area, we had very dodgy neighbours, and it wasn't an ideal location. The house was not in the best structural way, basically. So I would highly recommend that once you have your 2 years history to level up, find something a little nicer. If you're able to downsize, you only have 1 housemate rather than 3 of them, then that would be another really good bonus. And plus, I will say, if you are the principal tenant, which is a tenant that is responsible for paying the bills and is responsible for like communication between the real estate and back and the trades, it is a hard job. It is a lot of work. You are chasing up your other housemates, and that can sometimes get stressful. I know, I was the principal tenant in my last house, and like, people move out, you're the one who has to find people, and it can get stressful. So I would highly recommend that once you have gotten your history, downsize to a place that is smaller, needs less tenants, and maybe get yourself a nicer place. So anyway, those are my tips of how to be able to afford a rental when you are forced to move out of home. I hope you like this video, and I also want to just say thank you to you guys for coming along on my journey thus far, and it's because of you guys that I've been able to occupy myself doing things like my business as well, that you guys have been supporting crazily. Like, can't believe how great I am, so supported by you guys with my business, and my business really does make all the difference when trying to afford a place like this. So thank you everyone, and I'll send all my love off. Love you guys. God bless.
I've been waiting on a miracle, but then it's something cynical. I've been told the pain is on me, but what if pain is just a part of